Hi there. Let's talk about hands. So, I think we all know by now that you are how you move. And the way we use our hands is curled up. Everything you do uses flexion in our fingers. And so, if we're experiencing hand or wrist pain, sometimes working the opposite, so creating a little bit of extension in the fingers is going to be helpful. So we're going to look at that today. I want you to sit comfortably, thinking about sitting on the front edge of your sits bones, you're sitting on your pelvic floor, your pelvis is tipped forward a little bit. Then keeping your pelvis there, think about getting your ribs back over your pelvis. Just see how that feels. Find a sternum that is relatively neutral, so parallel to the wall in front of you. And just let your chin drop a little bit so your chin's parallel to the floor as well. Then let's start with our right hand. Take your right hand out and line up shoulder, elbow, wrist, kind of middle finger all in line. And the first thing I want you to do is spread out your hand. And notice how that feels. And do you have the ability to totally flatten your hand, to totally extend every finger? So there's no bend or buckle in any of the finger joints. And we're going to start at the pinky finger. You want to think straight lines. So your pinky finger is still in line with the outside edge of your hand, and then you're just pulling down. As you pull down, try not to flex your wrist, so I can still hold something in the palm of my hand. I'm going to hold for a little bit here, and then you're going to switch ring finger, just pulling back. And again, watch that the movement of the finger doesn't change the wrist, doesn't change the elbow, doesn't change the shoulder. And then you're going to go middle finger, and then pointer finger. And you can spend as long as you want. What I want you to watch and I want you to be really picky about is when you pull back, that nothing changes farther up your arm. And what I mean by that is sometimes what we'll see when you create a little extension, maybe the arm comes across the body. Or you create a little extension and your shoulders get tense. So what's happening in our hands can affect the alignment of our shoulders. And what's happening in our shoulders can affect the alignment of our hands. And we're going to make it a little bigger. You're going to pull all four fingers back and watch what your thumb is doing. Like watch that your thumb didn't try and pick something up. Keep pulling that thumb out. And then you're going to flex the wrist. And what we'll often see is when you flex the wrist, your elbow gets tight into your side or your shoulder hunches up. So think, as I flex my wrist, can I keep shoulder, elbow, wrist in line, everything level and moderately relaxed. And then you're going to let that go. And you're going to go thumbs up. And then with the thumb, you're going to hold on to your whole thumb and just move the thumb across. So that's the easiest range of motion for our thumb because that's really how we use our thumb. And then you're going to pull the thumb the other way, pain-free. You can go back and forth a little bit. Watch as you move your thumb. You're not moving the shoulder, elbow, or wrist. And then pull back. So it's like I'm trying to push my knuckles down, the knuckles of my fingers down toward my knee as I pull my thumb back towards my shoulder. And you could find different angles there. So you can go off to one side or the other a little bit. So that was the right hand. We'll switch and do the left. So same thing, shoulder, elbow, wrist, middle finger, all in line. Pinky fingers in line with the outside of the hand, and then you're just pulling back. And I want you to be picky. Can you get full extension in every joint so that like there's 1, 2, 3 joints in the finger? Can you smooth them all out? And then ring finger. Again, watch as you create extension. Did your shoulder or your elbow change? Try and leave that relaxed. Then middle finger. pointer finger. Then we're going to do all 4 fingers and add the wrist. So as I flex my wrist, can I keep my elbow slightly away from my side? Can I keep my shoulder relaxed? And can I keep my thumb pointing out to the left? And you can spend as short or as long a time as feels good. And then you're going to go thumbs up, and then little side to side with the thumb, as though it was a joystick, and then pull back. So I'm pulling my thumb back and dropping my knuckles forward. Now, all of this is passive range of motion. So I'm using my right hand to move my left hand. Now we're going to go to the wall and do a little bit of active extension. Okay, so now we're going to work on active finger extension. And I'm standing at the wall, and you could do this on the floor and tabletop, or you could do it on a countertop or a table as well. What I want you to do is bring your hands to the wall, shoulder height, and then spread your fingers as much as you can. We're looking for these lines in the wrist being parallel to the floor, trying to get your thumb to point straight out as much as possible, and trying to spread your fingers and flatten your fingers as much as possible. And then you're going to straighten your elbows. And so what you want to notice is when I straighten my elbows, do my hands want to change? And if that is the case, you would simply move your hands up a little higher or farther away from you if you're doing this on a table or in tabletop. Then, and I'm going to take this hand away so you can see, keeping your elbows straight, keeping your shoulder relaxed, see if you can tap your thumb. So I'm both spreading the thumb and lifting and lowering it. Just see how that feels. And then tapping the pointer finger. And always we're looking for connections. So can I tap my finger without my wrist changing, without my elbow changing, without my shoulder changing? And then it's middle finger. I find as you get farther out, it's a little bit harder. And then ring finger. Ooh, ring finger takes a lot. And we can, of course, be doing both hands at the same time. And then pinky finger. So you'll feel that we're using the muscles that extend the fingers. So we're going to feel that all the way up, probably into the forearm. Then the next exercise is you're going to pull the palms of your hands off the floor, which is going to give us a stretch for our fingers, and lower down. And by floor, I mean wall. But you could do this. So if I'm doing this on the wall, it is less hard than if I was to do this on the floor. So can I lift and lower without bending my elbows? And then when you're done all of this, to give your wrists a little bit of a break, you're going to do the opposite. So it's backs of the fingers touch, backs of the hands touch. Can I get my thumbs to touch? And then just pull down. So give that a try. See how it goes. Thanks.